Right. Let's start at the beginning. First, my name is David Corell. I'm a vicar in Berlin, and I investigate sects and the dangers they pose on behalf of the church.
Pleased to meet you. Nina Kalinkov.
Very nice to meet you. So, as I said, I deal with certain associations outside of the church. Some time ago, I came across a new, very aggressive sect by the name of Puritas Cordis.
The sect of that televangelist, Pat Shelton?
Right on. Apparently, Puritas Cordis believes in the prophecies of Zandona, an obscure 17th century French prophet.
Something along the lines of Nostradamus?
Yes, but the prophecies of Nostradamus were really vague and quite open to interpretation. Zandona, on the other hand, predicted a series of very real disasters. They were supposed to happen in a specific order, culminating in the apocalypse.
Zandona. Now, where have I heard that name before?
I tried to look him up in old church archives. Not very successfully, though.
You mean there's nothing at all about Zandona?
Not much. At least not anymore. The central registers are missing several tomes of records from this period. And I didn't have much luck in other archives either. Practically all records that might have contained some information about Zandona have vanished into thin air. Then, 2 weeks ago, a centuries-old parchment surfaced in Cambridge. A letter from a nun mentioning Zandona. The very letter you're carrying right now.
Ah, so that's what these people on the ship were looking for?
I think so, yes. Anyone who possesses it is definitely in danger.
Just my luck.
The last person who had the letter before you was my colleague, Patterson. He was going to follow some clues from the letter in northern France. He was the one who slipped you the letter at the harbor. He was probably being followed, and when he noticed, he passed the letter on to you. Not a moment too soon. May the Lord have mercy on his soul.
And now I'm stuck with it.
Unfortunately, yes. I'm so sorry that you got dragged into this. I witnessed the so-called accidents at the harbor. I realized he must have given someone the letter, so I boarded the ship in his place. I wanted to make sure the letter didn't fall into the wrong hands, and that its new owner was safe.
People are being murdered for an old letter? Could its contents really be that important?
Ashford, England, Anno Domini 1681. Now that my grey life is moving towards its equally grey closure, I can finally muster the courage to write down what I saw. My hands are still shaking today when I think of all the poor souls of Gatineau. I will never forget them. Screaming women, burning houses, crying children. A flaming inferno. Just like he predicted. Just like every single one of the disasters he foretold. This Zandona, he may be a man of faith, he may be a prophet, but is he also a man of God? There is no sense in musing about that now. I have failed. The key lay within my hands. The key that could have halted all the looming disasters and changed the course of events. The burning mountains, the great flood, the apocalypse. Perhaps it was up to me to prevent them. But my faith was weak. All those years, the key lay well hidden within the ruins of Gatineau, and the saint who showed me the way appeared to me in a dream every night. But my fear was too great, and I never returned there. I have failed, and therefore all I have left is hope. The hope that those brothers and sisters who follow may not succumb to the phantoms of fear, doubt, and weakness, as I did. The hope that they may boldly take the only path that is still open, strong in faith and fearless in action. I pray to God that it might be thus. Otherwise, the last of the prophecies will come true as well, and our fates will be sealed. May the Lord be with you. May you find the strength to take the key and try to stem the tide of Zandona's prophecies. Forgive me, Sister Elise.
That doesn't sound good.
Not good? Sister Elise basically announced that the apocalypse is almost upon us.
Oh, come on. That seems a bit exaggerated.
Have you already forgotten the flood wave then?
How could I?
See? And what did the letter say? It mentioned a flood wave, didn't it?
That could be a coincidence.
And by mere coincidence, some people are leaving dead bodies in their wake just to get their hands on this letter? And by mere coincidence, during these last few weeks, a major part of the very disasters that Zandona foretold happened one after the other, in the exact order of the prophecy.
Which is...
First pestilence and disease, just like the epidemic in Western Africa that still has millions of people living as fugitives.
So you think that was the first harbinger? What next?
Next, the punishment of the greedy.
The burning oil fields in the Middle East leading up to a severe economic crisis?
Probably, and then a war.
There are plenty of those to choose from. But the most gruesome is probably the civil war in South America, triggered by the collapse of the financial system.
Earthquake.
Japan.
Burning mountains.
The volcanic eruptions in Southeast Asia.
Followed by a flood.
Which we've seen for ourselves. You're beginning to scare me.
I am sorry, but this is what Zandona's prophecy says. And it is also what the Puritas Cordis sect is preaching. I have no idea what the key might be that Sister Elise mentions in her letter, but she seems to think that the prophecies can be stopped by using this key.
How can anyone stop a prophecy?
Beats me, but I know this much. If there is even the slightest possibility that all those disasters may actually be followed by the apocalypse, we have a real problem on our hands. And if there is even a remote possibility of stopping the apocalypse, or at least taking some appropriate preventive measures, then we should definitely make use of it.
Okay, you're right. I can't and won't really believe that a bunch of old prophecies are about to come true. But looking down from a cloud afterwards and saying, if only I had, doesn't seem too tempting either. What do you suggest?
We need to go to Gatineau.
Where exactly is that?
The place vanished from the history books centuries ago. But a few years ago, they discovered the ruins of a small town that they think is Gatineau. And if there is anything left to find there, we must do so before anyone else does. Before it's too late.
Then we should head there immediately. There's another section of beach over that way. Maybe we'll find something there that will help us get away from here. I'm going to need your help, though. It's a rather steep descent.
That should be all right. I'm still feeling sort of shaky, but I guess I'll be up to lending you a hand for a little climb.